Yeah, I'm going to do a fair use under the Section 107 Copyright Act 1976. Fair use, fair use. Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises and infinite honor. Kahalal, Yahawah, Kahalayim, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, Yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawah with the lesson. And fair use.
I've just landed, having returned from a very important and special meeting with the President of Mexico, a man I like and respect very much, and a man who truly loves his country, Mexico. And by the way, just like I am a man who loves my country, the United States. And they support unconstitutional. We also discussed the great contributions of Mexican-American citizens to our two countries, my love for the people of Mexico, and the leadership and friendship that we have between Mexico and the United States. It was a thoughtful and substantive conversation, and it will go on for a while, and in the end, we're all going to win. Both countries, we're all going to win. Dangerous criminals from detention. Are you ready? We will build a great wall along the southern border. And you know it better than anybody right here in Arizona. And Mexico will pay for the wall. 100%. They don't know it yet, but they're going to pay for the wall. And they're great people and great leaders, but they're going to pay for the wall. On day one, we will begin working on an impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall. We will use the best technology, including above and below ground sensors, that's the tunnels. Remember that, above and below. Above and below ground sensors. Towers, aerial surveillance, and manpower to supplement the wall, find and dislocate tunnels, and keep out criminal cartels. And Mexico, you know that, will work with us. I really believe it. Mexico will work with us. I absolutely believe it. And especially after meeting with their wonderful, wonderful president today, I really believe they want to solve this problem along with us, and I'm sure they will. You can quit building the wall.
Listen to what he about to say.
It's pain. Build the wall. Did you hear about that? You know why?
What is it?
Because the over here, they're gonna try to go back.
They're gonna try to come back to Mexico.
Mexico. Getting ready for a collapse.
A collapse?
On the dollar. So they think a lot of people's gonna start
trying to go back?
Yeah, so now
it's coming from the wall.
Everybody back.
Coming from Mexico. So basically what he just told us was that they're paying them so Americans can't leave when it collapsed. That's very interesting. The dollar is collapsing. That was one of those things that make you scratch your head and make you say, pay attention.
You can quit building the wall.
Listen to what he about to say.
It's paying to build a wall. Did you hear about that? You know why?
What is that?
Yeah, so we're over here, they're gonna try to go back.
They're gonna try to come back to Mexico.
Mexico. Getting ready for a collapse.
A collapse?
I don't know if you heard. He said Mexico is paying for the wall. All right, can't hear because it's Jake right here. That's why I just let it play again. But yeah, he said Mexico is paying.
Mexico.
Mexico. So we're over here, they're gonna try to build a wall. Did you hear about that? You know, it's paying to build a wall.
Pay attention.
You can quit building the wall.
Listen to what he about to say.
It's paying.
Right. See? Mexico is paying. Just what Trump said, right? Mexico is going to pay to build the wall. So this is what this guy said.
Build a wall. Did you hear?
Pay attention.
You can quit building the wall.
Listen to what he about to say.
It's paying to build a wall. Did you hear?
Mexico is paying to build the wall, right? Yeah, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. It says, and the Lord, Yahawah, right? Which all caps is Yahawah, right? Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Right? Then Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi said to answered me and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly, right? Means write it down plainly on clay tables, right? Basically trying to, referencing to it being having to be chiseled. Back then you have to make like the Ten Commandments, like a table, a tablets, right? So that, and now we actually have paper. We have the book. We have the Bible, and now you even have digital, right? So what I'm going off of is just, the phone, digital. But we got the paper too. I got my Bible. I definitely have my Bible. It says the one who reads it will run, right? And that's this the faith, this walk of faith. And sometimes it feel like a run too. This is like a marathon. It goes on and on and on, but hey, there is an end to this. You know what I'm saying? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, right? Just like running a marathon. A marathon goes for a long time, but though it tarry, it seems like take it forever. Wait for it, right? Could basically means to continue. Just like in a marathon, you have to just continue to run, right? Even after you hit that wall, there's a thing that they call a wall, and it just makes you feel like you want to just stop and give up. But you have to push past that wall, right? That's what we're all about to go through. We're all about to hit that wall. which that's the test. That's the hour of temptation, right? That mental fortitude that's going to allow you to continue to keep going past that wall that wants you to give up, right? Which, even though they're building a wall too, trying to stop you, right? So, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Yeah, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So then, of course, there's an end. There's an end to all this, right? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, future time, right? See, the future is coming. The end, your future is meant to be the finish line, right? Just like the Apostle Paul said, I ran the race, and I received the crown, right? And not a crown of what it says of basically what it says of carnal things, so to speak, because they used to take like some type of rose bush type thing and tie it around their heads like a crown, when they won some type of race or whatever they did. This is further than that. It's greater than that, right? Future time, it hurries towards the goal, right? See, and that's what you're doing when you're running a race. You're hurrying towards the goal, but it has to be like a where you're pacing yourself. It's a quick pace, right? You don't go too fast, and then you give up. You don't want to go too slow, then you're lagging too far behind, right? It's a pace. It's a balance. That's what this is. Towards the goal of fulfillment, right? See, the ultimate fulfillment is to get to the kingdom, get in the chariots, right? And to see part of that fulfillment is you have to see who the devil is, man. Right? You have to know that you're in you're in your punishment, right? This place is not your rest. That's part of the fulfillment. It will not fail. It will not fail, right? Yeah, the promises that the Lord gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it will not fail. Jacob, Yaquab, Yasharallah, it will not fail. Even though it delays, right? Like I said, like a race is a long time. It seems like it's delaying, but eventually the end is going to come. The finish line, you're going to see the finish line, right? If you keep going, wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. And as you can see, these devils are speeding up time. They're speeding up their actions by the by their moves. You can see what they're doing. They're speeding up the time to bring in the charagma, to bring in the new world order, that new glory, the novus ordo seclorum, right? That new ovo seclorum, right? Right? So, yeah, skip down. No, one more, right? Just to get to the point somewhat, because it goes, but that's what it said. Wait for it; it will surely come. It says Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6 says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him?" Right? Because once you realize The self-proclaimed so-called white man is the devil. In America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, is not your rest. If people are going to take up parables against them, right? And that's what they're hoping for, right? These for people to come out and protest and do all these different things. And that's what it is, a parable. Take up a parable, a taunting proverb. Yeah, take up a proverb against him. A parable. Take up a parable. All right, which is a song, and a taunting proverb against him. Right? All right, I'm saying it right. Okay. And say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay. Right? Which you go into that word, clay. Right? Going to the transliterate. Right? From the Hebrew, clay, abatyat, right? Which is a weight of a pledge, which basically means like a pawn shop. I believe it even gives you that. Pawn goods, right? Like a pawn shop. It says but heavy debt, right? And that's basically what they're doing. This thing's heavy debt. Society, even the country's in heavy debt. They borrow and they're in debt. So the money it's going to collapse. So being that the dollar is going to collapse, Mexico, like he said, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. And he said that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. And people, yeah, that's right. You didn't know what that really meant, right? It says, well, all these victims, overall, you're going to realize you're just a victim. You're a victim of Edomite supremacy, and not just Edomite supremacy. You're talking the 1% Edomite supremacy, right? Because even you regular white collar, even some of these other people who's in Congress, they're gonna find out. They're gonna pull the rug off from underneath them too. You think you in Congress and you voted and you hey, they don't like a lot of you either, right? And you're gonna all find out you're victims of his greed, right? Right? Because they don't want to share that. That's why they're the top 1%. That's why they're the international bankers, right? You know, because they say the way they squeeze they squeeze a penny, they could squeeze a booger out of Abraham Lincoln's nose, because they pinch pennies, right? They they're all about that. They all about that dollar bill, or really just ruling, right? Just greed. They just want it all. They don't want anyone to have anything. That's why you will own nothing and be happy. You know what I mean? Not taking up a not take up a taunting song. See, told you it's basically a song. Be chanting, right? Because they be doing in those protests. Give us give us peace, right? How we go? I don't know. I ain't never been to a protest. I've never protested, but I've seen the things on the movies. You know, hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. I don't know. I'm out of touch with that. But you know, they'll be doing these certain songs, you know, certain things, saying about how, basically saying this person that take what is not theirs. These thieves, these liars, they need to be on. You know, yeah. So against him, and in mocking derision against him, saying woe, right? Saying woe, which means judgment is coming, right? To him who increaseth that which is not his, how long will he possess it? Which the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. And this is the time that Yahawashi is going to come and take the kingdom back. So it's not going to be much longer. But his ideal is to collapse the dollar and forward his enterprise, you know, his kingdom. But woe, which means judgment, to him who make himself thick, and that's what it is. That's ultimately what's happening and what's coming is judgment, though. Right? Woe to him that maketh himself wealthy with loans, right? And then pull the rug off from underneath your feet. And once that happens, so this is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 5. It says, awake, let us go by night, let us destroy her places. This is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 5, Amplified version. Arise, let us awake to attack her at night and destroy her fortified places, right? Your protection, right? Yeah, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 71. It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling, which taking, robbing, right? Killing, right? And destroying, right? Right? Those that fear the outer one, power, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, right? And that's why the apostle always says that Jacob's trouble, right? Because they're really coming after the elect. But Jacob's trouble is everyone's trouble, right? You could go back to the time of what's his name, Herod, and his mighty men who went through the city of David, killing a bunch of toddlers and children who had nothing to do with the thing, but it was so that he can go after the elect, which was Yahawashi, right? And in the same fashion, that's gonna be like that now, because who's the elect? They don't know, right? Well, they do, but you don't, you know, you know. So that's but eventually the Lord is what's it? The Lord will set a standard, right? For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. See, your fortified places, your houses, you know, your place of protection, you know. So they're going to take you out of your fortified or destroy your fortified places, your houses, destroy your houses, right? It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, and eventually they don't know who the elect is, but eventually once the Lord raise up a standard, they're gonna clearly know who's the elect, and then they're gonna have a very bad day, right? Come back here, Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 6. For thus saith Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi BaHaSham QaDash of hosts meaning armies, said, hew ye down trees and cast a mote against Jerusalem. This is the city to be visited. She is wholly oppressed in the midst of her. Right? This is an amplified version. For Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi BaHaSham QaDash of hosts meaning armies, said, cut down her trees, build a siege mount, right? Mount against Jerusalem. This is the city, talking about you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. You're the city. You're where people before a place, right? You're the city that's going to come against. Even though you're in America, you're still known as Jerusalem, right? You're the Israelites. Yahshua, right? But a lot of you don't know that, but you're still required from the Most High. So you got to get your judgment. So the Lord say to come against you and like in war. So that's what Trump is doing. He's preparing war against you, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. This is a city which must be punished. See? And that's the Lord's sentiments to this place, man. To you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and to this place, America, Babylon the Great. This is not your rest. There is nothing but oppression inside her what? Walls, right? And that's what they're doing. They basically said Mexico, he said it 9 years ago, he said Mexico is going to pay for the wall. How did he know that? And guarantee he's going to boast on that. Yeah, I told you Mexico was going to build that wall and they were going to pay for it. Look how they're paying for it. That's because Mexico, dude said they know it's the dollar's going to collapse, so they need the wall up so the people don't run into their country once the dollar collapse. Because at that point, Mexico will be doing better than America. the peso will have more value than the dollar, and you know that's bad. But you know, people are looking for what could benefit them, right? You know, even if you had to go back and work for the peso to live a better life than you would live here, yeah, you would run to Mexico and drink that nasty water that stains your teeth and all sorts of stuff in order to live a little bit better life once this dollar collapse. Yeah. So they are. He said they were going to pay for it, but how did he know that? Why? Because they're the shadow government. They're what they call Illuminati, right? Right. This is that push for the Novos Ordo Seclorum, right? You know. So, yeah. Mount. Go to that real quick. Right.
Strong's H 5550. Solala. Solala.
Solala. Yeah. Solala. Yeah, mount. But use passively, right? See? And that's what they're doing. It's like a passively. They're building up the wall. It's like, oh yeah, that's nothing to see here. It's just passively doing it, right? It's a military mound. So they're preparing. That's what it is. It's like they build up the wall, and it's to protect you militarily. Now they're on thinking the thing. They could be on top of the tower, and it's easy to shoot down on the tower, and it's hard for you to shoot the person that's on the tower, because all they gonna do is duck behind the wall and then shoot back down. Right? You know, height has always been a vantage point in war. Right? I mean, it's not always the victor, but more times out of none, you're gonna win if you're at a height advantage. Salakia. But yeah. So yeah, rampart of besiegers, bank mount, right? Almost like a moat, I believe. You know, because they used to do that with the castles. A castle, you build a moat, and they say you used to build thing and put water. They say they used to put alligators or crocodiles or whatever into the moat, so that way if someone ever tries to come into the thing, they'll draw back the bridge, which basically leaves it just a wall, and in order to cross over, you would have to go through that moat. That, you know what I mean? And then the gators or the alligators or whatever, crocodiles or whatever, will be in that thing to get them. But you know, to leave us some separation. But it's also dealing with what a military, right? Matter of fact, rampart definition. So yeah, it says rampart, a defense wall. See, and that's what they're doing. Mexico's paying for it, so they can have a defense wall of a castle, right? Eh? Or walled city. Babylon the Great, wall in the city, and it said what? Oppression shall be in her walls. So a lot of you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, the Lord said what? Punish them. You're gonna get punished. A lot of you gonna you know, Esau, you're gonna get that. You know, Esau is gonna push forth his left hand agenda, right? Comply or die, right? Yeah, embankment, yeah. Earthworks, yeah, because sometimes you can just build them like with dirt, but you know, yeah. Battlement, yeah. It's all for they build up that wall. Yeah, so yeah, with all that, I'm gonna give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom, to you sisters, your Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawah with the lesson and the Baba Ball. Kwam Yasharala. We got next.